Good afternoon. Welcome to another session of the Senior Focus. My name is Attorney Nick Holtzis. I'm your host. I have with me Donna Osterguy. We're going to talk about certain issues that affect seniors, specifically something called the Elder Economic Security Standard. We've talked about it before. I think it's a very important topic. We're going to talk about it again. Hello, Donna. How are you?
Hello, Nick. Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay.
Good.
The Elder Economic Security Standard. Have you heard of that before?
I had not till today.
Something that was commissioned by the Gerontology Institute at the University of Mass, the Boston campus. And it talks about elder economic security, Massachusetts being the worst state in the country as far as the amount of money that senior households bring in and what they pay out to be able to remain independent in the community.
I think that we have mentioned it on one of our shows before, and everybody was appalled that Massachusetts was actually one of the worst states for it.
Yeah, you wouldn't think Massachusetts would, bring up the rear of all the states, but in fact it does. And I think there is about a $10,000 gap between what a senior needs to bring in as income to be able to remain in the community and what they actually expend. And that's a rather significant amount. And what it does is it measures basic living expenses, whether it's food, health care, transportation, clothing, household expenses. And it measures it in terms of a person's ability to independently pay for those items without government support. And of course in Massachusetts, like I said, seniors need the most assistance in meeting these basic expenses. And what I thought we would do, because I had mentioned healthcare. Healthcare is a rather dramatic expense that it's astronomical. Never mind a senior. Pretty much all people have a hard time covering medical expense.
Think about when we have in our office, Nick, our clients that come in and need, we'll say, benefits from the state, Mass Health, Community Mass Health. The goal, I believe, is to keep people in their homes as long as possible. And yet when you hear about this, the Elder Economic Security Standard, that's a scary proposition. How do they stay in their homes if there's not enough money to stay there? I think it's a catchphrase, a catch-22 where you're stuck with how do you live at home? You don't necessarily want to ever have to think about going to a nursing home, but how do you afford to live at home when the basic expenses are not there and not being met?
I mean, never mind the inability of a senior to meet these other, we'll say, basic living expenses. You throw health care costs into the mix and, prohibitively expensive. I don't know what the exact costs would be for home care, but with regard to the clients I've seen, I think we're talking about some pay $2,500, $3,000 a week for home care. Pretty much almost the same cost as what it would be in a nursing home.
But the goal is truly to keep people in their homes as long as possible, and yet you see, we'll say this study that they did, and find out that the basic living expenses for seniors is not being met at all.
Well, yeah, the reason I think is because in Massachusetts, predominantly elderly households get their retirement income in the form of Social Security benefits only. There are not a significant amount of pension benefits that are received or other retirement benefits. So, seniors are forced to rely upon Social Security benefits they receive, and it's not sufficient for them to be able to meet even their basic household needs.
And if you think about it, those waiting on wait lists for senior housing, I'll give you an example, Auburn Senior Housing, Worcester Senior Housing, the lists are massively long. And they're living on their own in apartments that probably cost $800 or $900 a month, if you think about it, going rates for apartments these days, or even homes with all the added expenses of heating oil, insurance, tax rates going up, everything. How do you make ends meet on Social Security? How do you do it?
I think that the first thing, as I've oftentimes said, knowledge is power, right? The more that people know about these certain expenses that they face, the better it is for them, the more affordable they can make things for themselves. And I know that we attempt to provide education and other programs that benefit the senior population, and I did want to talk about some of the symposia that we provide, and the most immediate symposium that's going to be occurring, the heart of the matter.
I think a lot, if you look at the, we'll say, well-rounded picture of the things that we are able to bring to the community, for knowledge is power. And I know that that's your mantra, and that's what we say all the time, that in order for them to be able to, we'll say, look to the future and plan for the future, you have to have the knowledge to do it. So we do seminars all the time and legal clinics and symposia all the time. And I know that for at least the medical end of being as educated about the newest advancements, the latest treatments on different types of ailments as you age, diseases that come all the time. We're very, very fortunate in being able to bring symposia to the general public for free of charge. Our next one actually is going to be the Heart of the Matter, which is June 20th. We're super excited for this. We have a fantastic group of physicians. The good part about these symposia, totally free of charge for people. Doesn't cost anything to come and get this information. Doctors present it at Holy Cross College. That's where it will be, June 20th actually,
It's
at
a
9 a.m.
wonderful venue.
It is. It's a great place. We love it there.
Really enjoy it.
Very, very happy that we decided on that. It can accommodate up to 300 people, which is fantastic. We can get the word out there as much as possible. And I know for this one particularly, I'm excited about it because for me, I'm approaching 50 this year, overweight, in all honesty, exercise a lot, but I want to learn about what the latest interventions and treatments are for heart disease and ways to, we'll say, prevent it as opposed to just living the lifestyle and saying, oh, someday it's going to catch up to me. I'd rather learn about it now and find out what's going on and if there are new advancements and ways to help myself, whether it be heart healthy lifestyles or stroke prevention. That's a huge one. How many people as you age end up with a stroke and have to find out ways to combat and live with this for the rest of their lives?
I think that that's the key word, prevention.
Prevention.
When we've had whether it's Dr. Wee, Dr. Makel, a number of physicians, and they all talked about the ability to, have screenings to prevent certain ailments, whether it be, cancer or whether it's heart disease, the prevention of a stroke, rather than wait until these medical issues are compounded and it becomes truly very expensive for someone to try to undertake whatever care they need. If it's possible for them to be able to have some kind of screening to prevent the disease, it's going to be much less expensive for them.
And I don't know if people realize that there are screenings for heart disease, whether it be a stress test, whether it be one of the other options that they have. They have so many new advancements. So the key is when you get to come to these, you're going to hear from the, we'll say, the leading experts. Right. We have Rob Phillips, Dr. Rob Phillips, who is the director of the Cardiovascular Center of Excellence at UMass Memorial as our keynote speaker. He's going to be talking about the advances in diagnosis and treatment of heart disease. I mean, it's just a fantastic way to learn. Are there ways out there to either prevent or we'll say delay the onset of heart disease if you do have symptoms of it already? He's going to be speaking on that. We have just fantastic doctors. Dr. Majaz Muniz, who has also been on our show, will be on our show, this show on June 6th to talk about stroke prevention.
I'm interested to hear what he has to say,
he
specifically
talks so
about,
much, Nick,
stroke.
About prevention of stroke, and that there are ways to prevent a stroke, but many, many people aren't aware of them. So what better way than to come to this free event all day long, doesn't cost a thing, and you will hear from the leading experts on heart disease and stroke prevention.
Okay, what day is this event taking place?
Wednesday, June 20th. We ask people to sign up either on our website, which is edlalaw.com, or call our office, 508-755-6525. We have quite a few people already signed up for this event, and I know as the day approaches, it's going to become that much less of a space, so we're asking people to sign up as soon as possible. I want to mention, too, that there are many nurses and social workers out there who work with patients all the time with heart disease, stroke, or whatever. The key is that we are approved now for 4 contact hours. And again, this is all free of charge for nurses and social workers to come and attend this so that they can impart this information to their patients and clients.
And you know, this is the kind of information that's very helpful, not only to someone who might be suffering or you know, from an ailment, a heart ailment, or suffering from stroke, but for the caregivers, for the adult children, for anyone who's caring for someone who's suffering from the symptoms of these ailments.
My mother recently got out of the hospital, and I know she's watching, so she'll yell at me for this after, but with a little incident with her heart. And we today are now, after this show, I'm going to be going to the heart failure clinic at UMass, which I've never been to, didn't even realize there was one. So this is all part of my learning process, so to speak, of learning about heart disease and probably stroke prevention. I'm excited to go there to see what it is and what they have to offer. I didn't know that there was a heart failure clinic. I think that's going to be great information for my mom, for myself, to learn what's out there and how you combat this, how you can live with it and be okay with it. And I think as a caregiver, I'm a caregiver of my mother, that I'm very fortunate to have things like this symposia to help me along the way. So it's not just about someone who has suffered a stroke, someone who has had a heart attack, or the spouse, but someone who's caring for them. Someone who actually has to deal with the day-to-day, we'll say, instances of what's going on in their life, and to learn new ways for advancement, diagnosis, treatment of heart disease and stroke prevention.
If someone was interested in attending the event, what's the day going to be like for them? Like, what time do they show up?
It actually starts
what kind of
at 8:30 in the morning.
Okay, so you want them to be there at
8:30 in the morning is sign-ups. That's how busy
Okay.
we are. We have that many people. I know our last Living Well with Cancer, it's a whirlwind from 8:30 to 9 o'clock of trying to get registered, get around to all the booths. We probably have 25 different companies exhibiting that day. Sign up for free raffles. Visit each booth, find out what's out there for community resources. If they need home health aides, if they need, we'll say, healthcare services, as far as even like wheelchairs, any type of things that would be helpful to them in the home. These are all the community service companies and organizations that will be there. Central Mass Agency on Aging, Auburn VNA, probably 15 different home care companies, all there to exhibit and to give information to the attendees.
And it doesn't cost anything,
Doesn't
right?
cost anything. A
What's the
beautiful lunch is
parking lot?
provided. The parking is right across from Holy Cross.
Well, when we say right
especially-
across from Holy Cross, I don't want people to think
I
that they
know.
don't park in Holy Cross.
Well,
they
park right in Holy
there.
Cross. There's Hogan Center, and right across the street, right across the parking lot is where they would be parking. There's plenty of handicap parking too as well.
And you said that lunch is provided.
Lunch is provided, free raffles, coffee in the morning. It's an all-day event. It's just a wonderful event, and at the end of the day, we pull all our raffle prizes from all the vendors, the exhibitors who come.
Okay, all day. What time does the raffle occur?
Raffle occurs, hopefully, if we're on schedule, by 2:30. It should be
And-
done by 3 o'clock.
You know, one of the questions that is oftentimes asked by people, do they need to be there if they win the raffle?
They do. They do. They have some fantastic raffle prizes, though. They had some great, I think they have tickets out to dinner and all different things. Movies, dinners, plants, everything you can think of for the raffle prizes. It's wonderful.
And it's not just this particular symposium. There are other symposiums that you have that are coming, right?
We have 2 others. We have one, Living Well with Arthritis and Joint Replacement, focus on orthopedic advancements. So that's really good because we realize that so many people suffer from arthritis as well as people who have joint replacements as they age. So that is Tuesday, September 18th from 9 to 3, Holy Cross College. Same exact day, schedule of the day. We're pulling that together now. We'll find out some more information in the coming weeks on who the doctors will be and the panel that will be presenting.
And we have an Alzheimer's
And we
symposium
have our
that's coming
Alzheimer's.
up.
Yeah, that one we're
It's
very
in
proud
November,
of.
right?
It's November 7th. 2012 from 9 to 3, same place again. That's a huge one for us. We were very fortunate. We had over 278 people at our very first event, and all of the people at the end of the day came up and just kept saying, wow, we never have had information on this. This is so great, because not only did they get the community resource aspect, the Alzheimer's Association was there. They learned about support groups. They learned about caregiving in the community, what's out there for people, and honestly, the respite of it and how difficult it is to care for somebody who's living through Alzheimer's disease. So just a great, great program.
All the information's available, no charge. People can register to attend, and they have free lunch provided, free parking. Get the information.
They can. They just have to actually go to our website, Nick, because you can register for any of these upcoming symposia. We have a spot on our website that allows you to register for both the arthritis joint replacement, as well as the Alzheimer's, as well as the Heart of the Matter.
I'm sure we're going to hear more about these symposia as their dates approach. We're going to head to a break right now. When we come back, we're going to be joined by the esteemed Hank Stoltz.
Millbury Healthcare Center is a highly respected 5-star deficiency-free skilled nursing and rehabilitation center. We are renowned for our compassionate care and specialty programming, making it possible for your next step, returning home. We listen and take the time to understand your goals. We provide support and the tools needed to safely prepare for your transition home. Millbury Healthcare Center is the community choice for skilled nursing and rehabilitation.
Does your loved one suffer from memory impairment, dementia, or Alzheimer's disease? Consider Dodge Park Rest Home in Worcester. Our geriatric medical team and nursing staff are available 24 hours a day. We offer medication administration and incontinence care with dignity. Our activity programs are designed to engage and stimulate the mind. And with Dodge Park Rest Home, you can better protect your estate and save your assets with only a 1-year look back. Your loved one will feel safe and at home with Dodge Park Rest Home of Worcester.
Please join us on Wednesday, June 20th at the College of the Holy Cross for a special day for anyone interested in learning more about the latest information on heart health, such as heart disease risk factors, stroke prevention, and how you can implement a heart-healthy lifestyle.
Charter On Demand presents How to Turn Your Home into a Movie Theater. Find your Charter remote and pick it up. Locate Channel 1 and get thumb ready for action. Press Channel 1 while carefully clutching a bowl of popcorn. Select a category and start enjoying top movies whenever you want on Charter On Demand, many the same day they're released on DVD. Check out this month's newest on-demand choices. Repeat frequently for full entertainment effect. Go to Channel 1 and find your favorite flicks on demand.
Are you searching for health answers? Want to find the best local healthcare specialists? Go to chartertv3.com. Our weekly Health Watch covers all the local health news you need to know. Go to chartertv3.com and click on Worcester.md. You can find the best local healthcare professionals, get articles, watch videos, and rate your doctor all with one click. So tune in to Charter TV3 or go online to chartertv3.com/health and access the best local health resources. Charter TV3 and chartertv3.com. Always on.
Coverage from Central Massachusetts for Central Massachusetts.
With graduating students facing one of the toughest job markets in recent memory,
investigators were alerted to the scene late Saturday night for a report of an infant in a car seat in the middle of the road.
Police are calling it a tragic accident. Meantime, tonight we're hearing the 911 call for help made by that father.
Reporters in the field and an in-depth local forecast. Worcester News Tonight on Charter TV3.
Charter TV3 salutes Kevin Shea and the Friday Night Football Frenzy Team, winner of the 2012 Media Award, presented by the Massachusetts High School Football Coaches Association.
Welcome back to the Senior Focus. I'm your host, Nick Kaltsis. I have with me Don Osterguy and the esteemed Hank Stoltz. Hello, Hank. How are you?
Hey, Nick. Good. Thank you for having me, Donna. Nice to see you.
It's my pleasure. I wanted to talk a little bit about identity theft. Identity theft I hear is not as rampant as it was. I think it's still an issue that affects everyone, and I think particularly seniors. A lot of places we go, a lot of seminars we do, a lot of clients that we see have had experiences with identity theft, with having their identity stolen and suffering negative financial consequences as a result.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that maybe it's not as rampant as it used to be. I wonder if that's because now we have a generation kind of growing up, younger people who maybe are a little more guarded about it, whereas some elders would not be as guarded about it. Might, you know, somebody's calling me up asking me for some information. Okay, I'll give it out over the phone. Whereas there's a generation now that goes, oh, why is somebody asking me these questions? Never give your Social Security number.
Never give you Social Security
The
number.
IRS is not going to email you and ask you for information. They're not going to call you on the phone. You're going to go down. So there's all these scams that are out there.
I think that a thief who steals your identity, maybe they only need the last 4 numbers of your Social Security number to do damage. I mean, you know, obviously, if they have your entire Social Security number, you know, what are the kinds of things that identity thieves do with the information? Buy cars, open bank accounts, get credit cards, do other financially motivated transactions with truly an adverse consequence to the person whose identity they've stolen. But I think they can do a little bit even with the last 4 numbers.
And it isn't, as you're pointing out, it really isn't even, right, Nick and Donna, about just draining your bank account. They get that Social Security number and they start setting up those phony accounts, and then they're gone in 3 months, but you're living with the consequences for years and years and years after because of all the things that they have ordered, all the items that they have bought, whether it's a car or whether, you know, whether it's just Home Shopping Network, you know, that it could be.
Ways that a thief might steal your identity. I love this this term, dumpster diving. You know, people throw things in their garbage without regard, and the material that they put in their garbage is a treasure trove to the thief. All of the personal information is available, and
they just find out all that information from you just because of something that you throw away and you think, who's going to go through my trash? But if you're not ripping it up or you don't have the home shredder, whatever the case may be. Now, so how does this guy on TV with that commercial get away with putting his Social Security number on the side of the truck and driving around with it? I mean, right? I mean, his Identilock or whatever it is.
Yeah, maybe it's not his Social Security number.
Maybe.
I don't know. I know I wouldn't drive around with my Social Security number.
But obviously there's ways to safeguard it, I suppose, if you want to invest the time and money. But boy, you've really got to be vigilant.
Scary proposition, because really, once your Social Security number has been compromised, I think the rest of your life is not really very easy.
Yeah, I don't know, Nick, the way that my credit is, maybe what I should say, maybe I should claim that must be somebody else. Somebody else must have grabbed it. That couldn't be me.
You know, you said a shredder. A simple device, you can get one at Staples or Home Depot, and as far as, you know, throwing things in the trash, shred personal sensitive documents that have your identification on it. Not a big deal. It's easy to do. We have one at the office. If there's a sensitive document, rather than just taking the entire document and putting it in the trash, run it through the scanner. It only takes like 5 seconds.
Sure, sure. Well, you, of course, in the work that you do, you must be dealing with a lot of information and sensitive numbers, and you have to not only then guard your identity, right, but all your clients. You have to make sure that that information never falls into the wrong hands.
Definitely. There's a law that was passed recently about encrypting information on whether it's obtained through email, on your website. So there is an attempt to minimize the ability of people to steal your identity, but it is still out there. I think that you know, there are 3 things that a person needs to think about. Deter the thief from stealing your identity. Do those things, and we'll talk about them, that are going to make it difficult for someone to obtain personal and sensitive financial information on you. Be diligent in detecting suspicious credit activity. If you only look at a credit report once every 5 years, something's happening. You don't know about it until years down the road the damage is done.
And it's not you, and how long does it take to undo that? Yeah, good advice.
Could take forever.
Right.
It could take a really long time. Number one, if you wait too long, they might not believe it wasn't you to begin with.
And it's hurt so many other things that you've been doing, and maybe you're wondering why loans aren't coming through or something else, not even suspecting that this is what's happened.
If you get a denial for a credit application or for a loan, I would think you would probably want to find out, okay, how come I've been denied? Look at your credit report, find out. When you find that someone has compromised your credit, defend yourself. Do something that's necessary to try to undo what they've done, rather than being lackadaisical and not being proactive in your response. So I think deter, detect, defend. Three big things. Some of the tips that someone might watch for or employ. Everybody uses ATMs, right? Watch for people that will say are shoulder surfing at the ATM. Be aware of who's around you. Be aware of what ATMs you use. Some are going to be a lot safer than others.
That's right.
If you go into a bank lobby, for instance, not a lot of suspicious activity going in there.
Yeah. You're right about that. I mean, and what's that ATM etiquette? Have you ever had where, you go in those ones that are sort of those glass booths out there, and you go walking in, and it's always like, do I wait out here? Do I go in? There's room for you to go in. Do I stay out here? Most people now, I think, actually stay outside. They don't want to be in there at the same time, really, for what you're just talking about.
Right. I saw a program on identity theft, and I'm not quite certain how they were doing it. I don't know if they were putting gum. They were doing something.
Right, where you swipe it and then they get your card number.
Well, now you swipe it, so it's much safer. But at that point, I think you would put your card in. Your card wouldn't come back out. It would malfunction. You'd go in to the bank lobby or wherever and indicate there was a malfunction in the machine, and then the identity thief would come, would undo whatever it was he did, get your card, and be gone. And know what code you pressed, your PIN number, to gain access to your proceeds.
And there's all your cash gone in the blink of an eye.
That's a scary thing.
It is scary.
I mean, in today's very difficult economic climate, I bet you a lot of people living day to day, they don't have a lot of money. So I would think that they want to defend and protect the money that they have, and they need to be diligent about these financial issues.
Do you think also that, because a lot of this is the technology that we have today, it just keeps getting more and more. Do you think, where you started out this conversation, Nick, talking about how maybe now it hits the elderly maybe a little bit more, this identity theft, that because they aren't, some are not as technologically savvy, that they're a little more nervous about the whole thing, or it's easier for them to give out some of this information?
My opinion on how the seniors deal with this issue are that they're more trusting than you would think. And they'll get, for instance, I think we're in Littleton, we did a seminar, and an individual received a phone call, I think it was late at night, and the person on the other end said it was his grandchild, and the guy was like, well, you don't sound like my grandchild. And the person said, oh, your grandpa, have a cold. And he wired the individual money, and he contacted his daughter to say, hey, what's up with your son? And she said, Dad, he's right next to me. He isn't in Florida or wherever it was.
Isn't that incredible?
And when he tried to stop the transfer, it was a Western Union MoneyGram or something like that. It was too late. The person had already come, gotten the money. There's no hope for the guy ever
And that's more common, Nick, than you think. Today that I just spoke to someone at Shrewsbury Crossings Assisted Living, and she said that it's happened there. It's a regular occurrence where they do a lot of identity theft programs because of the fact that seniors are more inclined to answer that phone and say, geez, is it really my grandson or my granddaughter? And it's happening honestly on a regular basis, and it's from people who are out of the country. I know the gentleman that we had met with, it was through Canada. He was wiring the money to Canada. And that's where he had to get it so that he could get his grandson out of jail. That's what he said.
And they're just randomly kind of dialing these numbers, and you figure out of every 1,000 that you do, you're going to get X number of people who are going to...
He said that guy knew everything about
everything.
His name,
daughter's name, son's name,
the
had all the information in advance.
I don't know all the now, I don't know how he had all the information.
Right, but they'd stolen it somehow.
He was convincing enough that this gentleman made a transfer of funds to him. So he was persuasive enough, and this man he was an intelligent man, well-to-do man. I mean, I'm surprised that he was taken, but he was taken.
Well, just think of that. I mean, even Don, if you just go on Facebook, how much could somebody know about any of us just from that? Probably our spouse's name, our kids' names, your birthday.
Right.
There'd be some information that they would have.
You know
right
what?
there.
You're right. All that information is available, and all you have to do, what do you have to do? Spend $5, $7, something like that. They make all that information available. Who your children are, what your address is. Your entire life history seems to be available on the internet.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that something? Are there other things that we should be doing to protect ourselves as well?
Yeah, there are. Credit cards. Do you use credit cards?
All the time.
And on the back of the credit card, you're supposed to sign it, right?
Yeah.
Well, lots of times, people don't look at the back of the credit card. What about writing, please see photo ID, so that in the event they do look at the back, they're going to try to make sure the person using the card is the person who owns the card.
Yeah,
we're going to head.
They're supposed to, yeah.
We have to head to a quick break right now. When we come back, I would like to talk a little bit about when someone goes on vacation. How is it possible for them to provide protection for themselves?
Does your loved one suffer from memory impairment, dementia, or Alzheimer's disease? Consider Dodge Park Rest Home in Worcester. Our geriatric medical team and nursing staff are available 24 hours a day. We offer medication administration and incontinence care with dignity. Our activity programs are designed to engage and stimulate the mind. And with Dodge Park Rest Home, you can better protect your estate and save your assets with only a 1-year look back. Your loved one will feel safe and at home with Dodge Park Rest Home of Worcester.
Millbury Healthcare Center is a highly respected 5-star deficiency-free skilled nursing and rehabilitation center. We are renowned for our compassionate care and specialty programming, making it possible for your next step, returning home. We listen and take the time to understand your goals. We provide support and the tools needed to safely prepare for your transition home. Millbury Healthcare Center is the community choice for skilled nursing and rehabilitation.
Please join us on Wednesday, June 20th at the College of the Holy Cross for a special day for anyone interested in learning more about the latest information on heart health, such as heart disease risk factors, stroke prevention, and how you can implement a heart-healthy lifestyle.
When we walk together, we are bigger than cancer. Join the world's biggest fight for more birthdays, the American Cancer Society Relay for Life. Find your community's event at relayforlife.org.
Tired of weather reports that don't focus on Central Mass? Introducing Worcester Weather, the only video weather report for Worcester. Worcester Weather is easily accessible 24/7 by visiting chartertv3.com. It is updated throughout the day to give you the best video forecast possible. Worcester Weather also airs at 5 p.m. during the Jordan Levy Show and every Worcester News Tonight telecast. Worcester Weather gives you the local forecast you have always wanted. Worcester Weather on Charter TV3 and chartertv3.com. Brought to you by Berterra Nissan of Auburn.
Maybe I was too harsh on the Worcester City Council. I said maybe. I mean, when they're talking about raising chickens and stuff, maybe we shouldn't have been so harsh on them. Maybe what we should be doing here is expanding, not only chicken. Maybe let us have a cow in the yard. Maybe a couple of pigs, a goat. That way we'd be sure there'd be no pink slime, no gluing on meat. This is sad.
I'm Kristen Doucette from Worcester News Tonight. Thank you for choosing Charter.
Welcome back to the Senior Focus. Again, I'm your host, Nick Alsis. I'm here with Hank Stoltz. Hank, you are on WCRN for the morning news.
Yeah, 5 to 9 a.m. Thanks. Yeah, we have a great time.
5 in the morning.
Yes, that's when everybody's up. As a matter of fact, I bet a lot of folks watching this show are up at 5 a.m.
I'm up at 5
a.m.
Sure. My alarm is set for 5 a.m.
World starts pretty early now, I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
5 a.m. and you've got people out on the road, but as you say, I think more and more people are getting up at that time. Not sure when we sleep, or if we do sleep anymore.
Well, I don't think I sleep enough, I can tell you that.
I think that is a real fact. I think more and more we're down to about 5-6 hours a night.
You know, there's some really, really interesting topics, and we're going to talk about some of those topics that I've heard you discuss on the air. But before we go into those topics, I do want to finish up on this identity
Sure,
stuff.
yeah.
One of the things that, I'm pretty much really fascinated by is the idea of caveat emptor, buyer beware.
Right.
A person, the internet, big business today, right?
Yeah.
Real big business. You can buy anything you want on the internet. I remember when I was in a wheelchair and I couldn't really speak, and my physician, I don't know if you know all this, the physicians told me, you got a year to live.
That, right.
I used to buy everything on the internet. They took my right to operate a motor vehicle away. I couldn't go to the store if I wanted to. You could buy anything on the internet.
Yeah.
I think that one of the main ways that a person can protect their identity is be wary of the websites you're on, and when you divulge personal information, have faith and confidence in the website that you buy something from.
That's right. That's right. No, you're absolutely right about that. And I think that, even as we've been talking about this, Nick, part of that is, and what you're just saying about the website, a little bit of common sense goes a long way. Thieves out there, I think, are probably pretty lazy. They want the low-hanging fruit. If you're protecting yourself, if you're just doing a little bit of due diligence, they're going to move on to the next guy because they don't want to spend their time trying to get through your defenses.
Right.
I remember once talking to the chief of police in Worcester, and I thought that it was very interesting that he said that a lot of the break-ins happen when, because I know you were going to talk about going away on vacation, he said the folks who don't turn on an outside light, the folks who don't cut their bushes low. In other words, very simple, easy things.
Right.
If you do those things, the thief's going to leave you alone because he wants somebody who's easier pickings.
Let's talk about when someone goes on vacation, when they travel. Perhaps they are going to go to Canada and visit a child of theirs, or down to Florida, where the weather is warmer and they can't take the winter times anymore, and they say, you know what, in November I'm leaving, I'll be back in January, February, I'll be back in March.
Right.
There are certain things that a person probably wants to do to protect their identity. Number one, I think they want to alert their credit card providers that they're going to be away.
Absolutely.
Because they might be in for a little bit of a surprise. They go in, they want a nice breakfast somewhere, maybe it's West Palm Beach or Palm Beach, and they whip out the credit card, and all of a sudden, the person comes back and says, well, I'm sorry that your credit card provider won't accept the charge.
Yeah.
So you probably want to let people know that...
Exactly. They're getting much better about that. I mean, I actually had an incident where I was down in Brooklyn, and there was a big charge, and we actually got a call. It didn't go through, and the saleswoman said, can you hang on a moment? We have to call. And at the same time that she was calling, I'm going, what in the world is going on that my car wouldn't go through? I'm getting a call saying, hey, this is an unusual purchase in an unusual store, and it's not a location, sort of like, why are you in Brooklyn kind of thing. So they're actually kind of looking out for us a little bit.
I was in Bermuda a couple weeks ago, and didn't the thought cross my mind as I was using my credit card at a place to buy some food to eat, are they going to accept my card? Because if not, I don't really have money. I rely on my credit card, on my debit card. And I thought, why didn't I just call them and let them know I'm going to be out of town, I'm going to be in Bermuda?
Yeah, isn't that something? So in some ways, the card providers, I think, are looking out for us a little bit as well. And it must be.
I think they're trying.
It must be because there is so much credit card theft, though, so much fraud. Unfortunately, that must be why they must be getting hit with it.
How about this? LL Bean has reported that once again, its computers have been compromised, and all the people with an LL Bean credit card have to be issued new credit cards because their data has been compromised. And I think this is the second time, or the third, we'll say the second time, it happened a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on over at LL Bean, but
it's
kind of a scary thought.
I mean, it must just be a constant battle because the thieves, of course, on a big scale like that, they are getting so much more sophisticated. They're out there spending all their time trying to hack through all these walls and everything.
Imagine getting an LL Bean bill, invoice, open it up. Oh, geez, I haven't bought anything from LL Bean for a while. And you see a $30,000 charge.
Whoa! There's my canoe, my but I don't have any of this stuff.
And that kind of stuff is happening.
Sure.
A big one, I think. Stop your mail. If you're going away, if you're going to be in Florida for like 3 or 4 months, stop your mail.
Common sense instead of it might be a tip off to somebody if it's spilling out of your mailbox or piling up on your porch.
Another huge tip. Stop the TNG. If you get the Telegram and Gazette, if you get the newspaper or the magazines.
Yeah. Who hasn't seen that? A neighbor who, goes away for a week.
Happens all the time.
Right, and you got 7 papers lining up and down the driveway.
The thing I was reading about that I thought was, I thought made a lot of sense. They say, weed your wallet.
Now what is it? Just go through it and make sure you...
Yeah, go through it. Take everything out of there that you don't need. What do you need? One credit card? Don't take all your credit cards. If you have multiple credit cards and you're only going to plan on using 1 or 2, don't take all of them.
Yeah, that's good thinking.
Go through there. And then they went so far as to say, have a like a spare wallet or a dummy wallet.
Yeah.
Have a couple dollars in there. Have a bank card that is no longer valid, and have a hotel room key, so that the person who's taking your wallet thinks that, oh, that's the actual wallet. And I think, that's rather an ingenious. That's a rather ingenious plan.
Right. But even just weeding out your wallet, they don't get everything.
Right.
And why do you need it? You're really not going to use 5 or 6 credit cards wherever you're going.
They're saying, definitely leave your checkbook at home. You don't need your checkbook, and the checkbook contains a lot of vital information: name, address, bank routing number, your account number. And even if all of the checks are used, if there are deposit slips in the back of the book, it have all that information available to someone.
Yeah, think about that. You're absolutely right. Those are, and again, pretty much common sense. I mean, very easy to implement. This is not something that's going to take you a long time to do or is difficult to do. For some reason, we just don't do it.
If a person procrastinates, I mean, I can see it now. They don't do it, and something happens when they're away. Can you imagine the guilt that they're going to feel?
Sure, for something
because
that easy.
They didn't, because something that easy. They didn't spend the 2 or 3 minutes necessary to protect themselves.
And there'll be somebody in your family who will be quick to point out, didn't you stop the mail? Didn't you stop the paper? Didn't you take care of this?
Here's another one. I will say, beware of using hotel computers. I know whenever I go away and I'm in a hotel, I always bring my computer. I always want to see what's going on at work. I always tie into things. And apparently that's a great way to have your identity compromised.
By using the one because every hotel does have that now, someplace
Right.
where you can go and you can use it to check your email.
A lot of them offer it at no charge.
Right.
So, I mean, it used to be, it came with a fee. Now, there's no charge.
No charge, yeah. Usually I can't get on, though, because there's some kid who's looking up his Facebook account.
They charge so much for the room, and they should give you that for free. Let me tell you,
right.
it's all charged. It's all calculated.
But like
in
you
the
say,
room
you
charge.
bring your laptop with you,
Right.
and there's the Wi-Fi, because they're going to have free Wi-Fi for you, and you're able to stay on your own secure network.
And then another thing, what if a senior's in their room and there's a call from someone saying, hey, this is the front desk and there's a problem with their credit card. We need the credit card number again. They certainly shouldn't say what their
Right.
credit card number
Right.
is.
At least travel down to the front desk and find out if it's genuine, which
We're
it
gonna-
probably isn't.
We're going to be providing a seminar on identity theft at Shrewsbury Crossings on June 28th at 2 p.m. That's at 311 Main Street. It's a free event, free refreshments, and I think most importantly, there's an auction for a free shredder. So not only are we going to be able to tell them what it is they need to do before, what to do if something happens, but as far as shredding information, well, they're auctioning a free shredder.
Nice. No, that's good information to have. That's a good, useful thing to have. We don't think about it, but after this conversation, you have to be thinking about how are you going to make sure people can't dumpster dive or get their hands on your Social Security number, your bank numbers, all these important numbers that are out there.
Like I said at the beginning of the show, it's such a simple matter to get the shredder. You know, you go to Home Depot, you go to Staples, maybe $100, a nice one, a couple $100. It shreds credit cards, staples, safety pins. I mean, you name it. I mean, so it's not like you're going to have to go through all your documents and take the staples out. You can put them all in there, and it'll destroy all your personal information. Nobody else needs to see it. If you're done with it, you should, protect your identity, and you should get rid of that information.
That is great. That's going to be a good seminar.
We are going to head to a break right now, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Congressman Jim McGovern.
Millbury Healthcare Center is a highly respected 5-star, deficiency-free skilled nursing and rehabilitation center. We are renowned for our compassionate care and specialty programming, making it possible for your next step, returning home. We listen and take the time to understand your goals. We provide support and the tools needed to safely prepare for your transition home. Millbury Healthcare Center is the community choice for skilled nursing and rehabilitation.
Does your loved one suffer from memory impairment, dementia, or Alzheimer's disease? Consider Dodge Park Rest Home in Worcester. Our geriatric medical team and nursing staff are available 24 hours a day. We offer medication administration and incontinence care with dignity. Our activity programs are designed to engage and stimulate the mind. And with Dodge Park Rest Home, you can better protect your estate and save your assets with only a 1-year look back. Your loved one will feel safe and at home with Dodge Park Rest Home of Worcester.
Please join us on Wednesday, June 20th at the College of the Holy Cross for a special day for anyone interested in learning more about the latest information on heart health, such as heart disease risk factors, stroke prevention, and how you can implement a heart-healthy lifestyle. Help the American Cancer Society save lives and create more birthdays by joining the Relay for Life of Worcester, sponsored locally by Charter Communications and Charter TV3. Relay is a unique community overnight event that allows teams of families, friends, and co-workers to join together in the fight against cancer. Form a Relay team this year and make a difference. There are 14 relays taking place throughout Central Mass this year. For more information on a Relay event in your area, visit cancer.org and register your team today.
I'm Tom O'Donnell, Chief of Police for the town of West Brookfield, with an important safety message. This time of year, thousands of high school students are going to proms. Parents and teenagers both have a responsibility. Parents, talk to your teenagers about the expectations and limitations. teenagers, the prom is a rite of passage. Listen to your parents and have a prom night that is fun, memorable, and safe. This safe driving message is brought to you by the Central Massachusetts Chiefs of Police Association and Charter Communications.
Join me on the Hank Stoltz Experience. You know, people are always asking me, what is the experience? Well, that's the beauty of it. It's everything that has to do with Central Massachusetts, from the politics of the region to the great events that are going on each and every weekend or every night right here in Central Mass. It's everything that's going on. It's everything that you want to know about. And just like Kelly Square, where the traffic never stops, we never stop either. There's no red lights on the Hank Stoltz Experience, only on Charter TV 3.
I'm Andy Lacombe from Worcester News Tonight. Thank you for choosing Charter.
Welcome back to the Senior Focus. I'm Nick Kaltzis, your host, and again I'm here with Hank Stoltz. Hank is the voice that you hear on the WCRN Morning News. You said 5 in the morning to 9 in the morning.
5 to 9 a.m. and those phones are ringing, Nick, from 5 a.m. on.
Is it hard to be there at 5 in the morning? I mean,
Actually,
I get to work at about 6:30, and that, you know, that I think that's an accomplishment for me.
I agree.
And
I think that's early.
An hour and a half, even before I get there, that's admirable.
Well, it is the best part of the day. I mean, for me, I mean, there's the excitement of doing the show, so you're always up. The adrenaline is pumping. There's always something new to talk about. So I don't have any trouble getting up and getting going. Having said that, the trouble that I have getting up is that at 3 when I get up is the same trouble that I would have if I had to be at work at 9. I'd have trouble rolling out at 7 or 8. It's like anything, you kind of get used to it. It's true that I don't, get to stay up and see the Tonight Show or anything like that. But you get used to it. Been doing it for well over 10 years now.
With the advent of the DVR, you don't have to worry about it.
And I don't miss all the great shows.
Yeah, you can just record them all, and there they are.
That's right. That's right.
And that's not the only thing you do. You do the WCRN Midday Report from 12 to 1.
We bring you an update
every Monday through Friday.
Yeah, we bring you an update of everything that's happening, and of course, the Hank Stoltz Experience right here on Charter TV 3 is a lot of fun too.
Sure.
But again. What's that old saying? I mean, if you find something that you love, you never have to work a day in your life.
That's right.
I cannot pretend that it's a hard job for me. I mean, I love it. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it every day.
Well, there are a lot of fortunate people because I advocate and I'm a major proponent of the fact that knowledge is power. So if someone wants to keep abreast of developments, they need to tune in to the morning news. They need to tune in to the midday report, the Hank Stoltz Experience. If they want to know what's going on, they need to, be proactive.
Well, Nick, I appreciate that.
They need to be proactive, and they need to find out what's going on. People don't bang down your door and tell you what's happening. You need to educate yourself.
Hey, I appreciate that. And again, Sherman Whitman delivering the news every morning. I'm talking about the issues of the day. Nick, you're with us every Monday from 11 to 12 to bring us up to date on everything that's happening in the world of seniors and the senior focus. So I mean, it's all great. I love the way you put it. I mean, it's great information out there.
Well, it's what do they say? The senior population is known as the silent majority. They don't inform themselves of the topics. They don't stay abreast of current affairs and current events. And, I think that it's very, very important that they do so, particularly in today's environment. Economically, politically, it's really important that if a person has a particular opinion, they voice that opinion.
That's right. And boy, that's what we do on AM 830 WCRN. We let you voice that opinion. Some people do it loudly, some people are a little softer. But
it's so important. You don't have to agree with it, but it's really the American way to be able to say what it is that you feel, what your opinion is.
Yeah, exactly. And boy, as I say, and we even have First Amendment Fridays where we don't even lay a topic out there. We let you pick what the topic is that you want to either vent about or inform people about or just talk about.
The was it a budget hearing, I think the House budget hearing, there was a number of seniors, I think a couple hundred, and are you aware they filed into the balcony area of the auditorium, and they were vociferous. They were loud. They let their opinions be heard. In fact, they were so loud that the hearings were stopped. They were asked to leave. And I thought to myself, well, that's kind of interesting, because what I read was that elderly people with canes and elderly people in wheelchairs were, I think they used the word, evacuated from the upper portions of the balcony.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, that's a rather steep incline.
Yeah, that
How
is.
did those people manage to get there to begin with?
And it showed that they really wanted to be there and really have their voice heard. And the thing is that, I mean, particularly for politicians, when you see a large group of seniors, there's people who are going out and they're voting. And if they're angry with you, they're not going to vote for you. And that resonates. So if you can go, Worcester City Council, Tuesday night, perfect example. Here you have an important meeting where they're setting the tax rate. It affects people. It affects businesses. People showed up. Don't let them off the hook. If they're going to make a decision, they're going to take a vote. Make them look you in the eye while they tell you the reason why they're going to do it.
So many people, there was a spillover into the hallway. They had to put monitors in the hallway so that people could see what was happening.
That's great. Boy, there's democracy in action.
You know, the tax rate, the residential tax rate, increased from the prior year by 92 cents. What is it now? $16.98 per thousand.
Yeah.
And the commercial or industrial rate, $29.08 per thousand, which actually is a decrease.
Yeah, closing that gap a little bit. Worcester, of course, as you know, Nick, is one of the communities in Massachusetts, one of the few, where we have this dual tax rate. And because of the valuations that have just been done, and because of this new system now where these valuations have really socked it to everyone, there's no doubt that there's a number of businesses that are saying, hey, we may vote with our feet. We may leave the city. So I think the city council was really faced with, we can't just vote the lowest residential tax rate, which is the most popular thing to do for the voters.
You know, voting with your feet, you know, in tax rates. Who's the gentleman from Facebook, and not the founder of Facebook, but
so not Zuckerberg, but
not Zuckerberg, but he had like a $4 million transaction when Facebook went public. His taxes were like $700 million, and I thought to myself, well, no problem. He's still going to have $3.5 billion or something.
Right.
He renounced his citizenship and he moved
for tax reasons, not for political reasons. I heard for tax reasons, right?
For tax reasons.
So I don't think you should be able to do that. That's a whole show. You know what? That's tomorrow's topic on the WCRN Morning News. You should outlaw that.
I will call you if that is your topic on tomorrow's.
I think we should do it.
I wanted to talk about Jim McGovern, and I don't think we have time. I do have time to thank you for coming on today's show, though.
I appreciate that, Nick.
And I do want you to come back so we can talk about Jim McGovern and the issue with there's a lot of controversy about travel, and I know Jim likes to travel, and apparently Cuba and certain areas in Central America seem to be where he likes to travel too, but I'm not really sure there's a lot of substance in that.
Interesting that you say that. And he's always had humanitarian rights have always been something. World hunger, these are issues that he has always talked about and fought about. And I'll tell you, Nick, it's interesting the way that you put that, because our callers who are Jim McGovern supporters said exactly what you said. Doesn't seem to be any there. Those who are against him, well, this was fodder for them.
I'm going to get Jim McGovern to see if he can come on my show. I'd love to have you on the show. But right now, we're going to head out to Jordan Levy.